Hello, and welcome to the next episode of the Spirit and Soul Podcast. I am your host, Tiffany Cohen, and today I am beyond excited to I don't know if it's introduce you. I feel like you guys probably already know who my guest is today, but we have Matt Gangi with us today. And if you are on Instagram, if you're on TikTok, if you're on YouTube, I am quite sure that you've experienced the magical healings that Matt always brings. I know I always look forward to seeing his face come up in my scroll and like just stop. I always, every time, stop what I'm doing and receive those healings. So today, this is like a real dream for me. So Matt, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. It's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I'm so thrilled to be on your show.
Well, I'm so excited to have you here. And again, like Matt, I will say it's every single time I am, scrolling, or sometimes if I just need it, like when I just need a moment, I go right over to your page and I just allow myself to like scroll through and receive, whether it's the Reiki that you're sending or the cord cuttings that I might need and just show up at that moment, or it's the messages. So I just really, really love the content that you put out. And I feel like it's such a bright light in my day. And I feel like it's such a bright light on Instagram. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your kindness and saying those wonderful things. I don't often get to hear that feedback so heartfelt. Because when I'm making these videos, when I'm putting them out there to the world and I'm channeling the energy, I don't often think about the impact that it has. I'm just kind of in the moment. I'm channeling the energy and I send it out there. So to hear that from you really, really means a lot. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks. So Matt, I would really love to hear, like, how did you get started in all of this? Tell us about your journey and what you have going on.
Absolutely. Well, to be completely honest, it really started with a disquieting feeling in the soul. When I was a little bit younger, I just started having this pulling feeling. It was like an uncomfortable nudge inside me that was pushing me toward something that I really couldn't figure out what it was. But I started unlocking these memories of past lives when I was younger. I started feeling this sense of purpose, like I wanted to help others or I wanted to do something for humanity, but I didn't really know like what that was. And I was trying to figure that out and wrestle with it. And I was struggling with depression, struggling with anxiety, a lot of issues at the time. And around the time of COVID, the pandemic, I found Reiki quite serendipitously. I was scrolling through Instagram and I started reading this story about a Reiki master from Japan who used Reiki to help spirits cross over to the other realms. And little known fact about me, ever since I was younger, I was really into paranormal investigation. The shows like Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, stuff like that. I've always had such a deep interest in the paranormal and spirits and spiritual things. So when I learned about Reiki masters and they had this ability to help spirits cross over, I thought that was so cool because that's one thing that I always thought about when I watched these shows was people are going in there and they're investigating ghosts and they're filming them for fun or for engagement, but nobody's actually helping these people. They seem like they're very tortured souls that are stuck there. Why isn't anybody helping them? So when I found the Reiki master on Instagram, it really clicked for me. I started studying Reiki. I actually asked the universe if Reiki was meant for me. Could I find a Reiki master? Because I read that it was hard to find teachers, that it was very expensive. And I actually found a teacher within 15 minutes that was 5 minutes away from me. And I started studying in the time of COVID. And it opened me up to so much. And it's really hard to kind of like pinpoint the changes, but Reiki, that energy and being opened up to it, it really shone a light on all the areas of my life where I was not living in alignment with my highest self. It highlighted a lot of bad habits that I had at the time, a lot of repeated cycles that I was trapped in that I wasn't even aware that I was trapped in, just cycles of the same thoughts like running a track that I needed to break out of. So Reiki, the energy itself and being open to it, it really helped me look at my life from this zoomed out perspective, like the whole of my entirety of my life from almost from like an outside, like higher perspective, the way I was living it. And I suddenly saw all the ways where I wasn't living in alignment, all the ways where I was still engaging in like addictive, compulsive behaviors. And gradually I started undoing the knots and untangling things and healing. And I started doing some really messy shadow work and investigations. And through that, through all the learning and the wisdom and the meditations, I, I, I really wanted to share everything that I was learning with people. And I started building up my confidence. I started live streaming, and within about a year or so, I started making these videos on TikTok and not really knowing where it would go. I just started sharing Reiki. I just would hold my hands there and feel the energy flow through me, and I would channel it. And I'd just send it out to the universe, and I'd send it out to the world with the intention that whoever was meant to receive it would receive it for their highest good, and just putting it out there. And it started catching on with folks. Because the more I felt this Reiki energy, because it was Reiki for itself, for people who haven't experienced Reiki, it's a pure, divine, unconditional love. And it's a love that comes from our spiritual home. It's a love that comes from our cosmic source, our God, our creator. And it's a reminder that we're always loved, that we're always nestled in the palm of the creator's hand, that everything is taken care of, and that nothing happens by random chance or accident, and that everything is connected. And that's what that energy reminds me of. That's what that energy is saying to me every time I channel it. So being able to channel that for others and share that with the world has been such a blessing for me. And the more that I meditate, the more that I channel this energy, and the deeper I went with it, the more I got in touch with my spirit guides, my guardian angels. The more I was able to hear clear messages from the universe, just things that were meant for me, but also meant for me to share with others. So that's kind of how it's been since I've started. It's been such a crazy journey, and it's been evolving in so many unique and different ways. And I'm thrilled every day that I get up and wake up and do this, because I love connecting with people. I love sharing this energy, and I would just never want to go back. Each day keeps getting better. You know, I'm so full of gratitude and love these days, and I really want to see our whole world evolve spiritually and ascend to higher planes of consciousness and embody this love energy, this gratitude energy, because I've seen the change that holding spaces of love and gratitude can have in my own life and in others' lives. So yeah, I don't know if I answered your
Wow.
question, but
Yeah.
it's
Wow.
been a
No.
wonderful journey so far.
I just, you know what it is, Matt? I really am like in awe of how you speak about Reiki, because I'll say it's something that, there's so many people do, right? However, I feel like the true meaning sometimes gets lost. I feel like the way that you spoke about it, it gives such a beautiful reverence to the true healing and the true love and divine light that comes through when you perform Reiki, like when you call in that energy and have it flow to and through you and send it out to other people too. I mean, I use it in my coffee every single day. Like I constantly am using Reiki all the time. And it's something that I feel like it can, like the true meaning of it can get lost. So I just want to just highlight that, like how you speak about it is so, so beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you, Tiffany. Yeah, because when we think of Reiki, or when you tell somebody about Reiki and you just use that word Reiki, a lot of people tend to subconsciously put it into a box. You know, when we give something a label, we tend to kind of like isolate it from other modalities or other spiritual teachings. And that's not what Reiki is about. Reiki is a universal life force energy. It is an energy that is divine, but it's also present within every single living thing. It flows through everything in the universe. It's accessible to everyone, and it's flowing through all of us at all times. And it's, like I said, it's a reminder of the home that we come from. It's a reminder of that love our creator has for us. It's a reminder of that love that's flowing throughout all of us. So a lot of times I even hesitate to call it Reiki, because even that is kind of, it's almost like diminishing the energy and what it is, but it's really hard to put it in a label. But thank you for saying that, because it's bigger than just the word Reiki, you know?
Yeah, agreed. And I always say this too about any type of healing modality. It's that there is also something to be said about the person, right? The person that's holding the space for it. Because at the end of the day, you know, I do think that it makes a difference when the person is doing their work and they are, like you said before, untangling those knots for themselves. And as they ascend through their own healing, they are able to hold such a bigger space for other people. And I think that it shows in just the amount of people that you have, as who's following along with you and subscribe to your things. Like, you're holding space for all of these people. That says something more about you and how you can hold that space, than it does, I think, for anything else. Cause that's huge. That's a huge number of people to be holding space for,
It is a
right? When you
lot.
really think about it.
It is a lot. And there's a couple things that I'll speak to that. The more that you work with energy, just in general, no matter what type of energy, the more sensitive you inevitably become. The more you tune into the subtle energies, the more sensitive you are. So there does need to be, with more space being held, I need to allow more time for grounding and solitude and just being in my own energy, kind of unplugging and getting away from all of it. Um, but but really, it's amazing. Really, I wouldn't want to change any of it for the world. It's been so incredible, because yeah, seeing the effect that I do have on people, that this energy has on people, it's been so transformative. But I do want to remind everyone that Reiki is a personal journey first. And when anyone starts Reiki, because you've taken the classes, we focus on self-healing first, and healing ourselves. And it's so important, because in Reiki and energy work in general, you have to be a clear channel. You have to be doing the work on your own. You can't just be channeling the energy and ignoring your own shadows. You have to work on it constantly. It's a daily practice. And like I said in the beginning, Reiki will force you to face the parts about yourself that you're keeping hidden, the stuff that you're trying to run from or escape from. Reiki is going to shine a light on it, and it's going to force you to deal with it. It's going to shake it out into the open, whether you want to face it or not. And that's what I learned early in my journey. Like, it was a school of hard knocks, because I started learning the practice, and all of a sudden, all of these things started coming up to the surface. And it was stuff I didn't want to I didn't want to face about myself. But that's the thing. In order to hold space for others, you have to be a clear channel. You have to be completely open, to the energy flowing through you, and have done the work. So yeah, that's definitely very important. Very, very important.
Oh, I think that's beyond important for the listeners to hear. It's something that I talk about as well, is that working through those shadows, even though it's super uncomfortable, on the other side of it is truly magic. Would you say the same? Like, on the other side is just this like opening and like just empowerment?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for me, anxiety has always been one of my biggest hurdles. And whenever I would feel that anxiety coming on, I would try to distract myself from it. I would try to do something else. I would try to breathe and focus on something different and kind of get away from the anxiety. But what Reiki really wants me to do, and still wants me to do, is face it, to actually sit completely enveloped in the emotion of anxiety and let the fear roll through you like waves crashing against you. And it feels like it's going to swallow you whole. And that is the essence of the fear. You're going to be swallowed up by it. There's going to be nothing left. But Reiki allows you to just sit in that space and let it flow through you. And remember that once the fear is gone, you're still going to be there. You're not going to die. You're not going to be swallowed up by it. The fear is going to move through you, and it's going to pass. And once you move past it, you're going to alchemize that energy back into love, and you're going to return to a higher vibration. And that's something I had to learn for myself, because I was always trying to escape into this or that and trying to distract myself away from my anxiety. But once I actually had the courage to face it, and it's not something you face it once and it's gone. You have to keep facing it, because it keeps coming up. You have to keep facing the fears. But when you do that consistently, you really unlock this power that you have. And it's like a deeper connection to love, because when you do face that anxiety with love, with an open mind, an open heart, and you do transmute it and you feel it happening, you're like, wow, I can do anything. And it unlocks deeper states of love, deeper states of gratitude, because that anxiety, once it's melted away, once it's transmuted, you're able to hold more space then. It opens you up to holding greater spaces of love and gratitude. Because if you're just escaping from that anxiety, it's still there. It's still there inside you, like a little blockage, and it's blocking you from holding that greater space. But once you let go, you let it melt back into love. It's incredible.
Mm, mm. I love this. I love this so much. So Matt, you had mentioned that you feel like, because of the space you hold, and this is like something that everybody needs, but that, you really need to make space for yourself, right? Like your own healing or your own just like grounding energy. So what are those things that you do for you that bring you back to like filling up your cup and filled and overflowing?
Well, I have a few different things that I like to do. When I wake up every morning, I start the day with a meditation. And one of my favorite meditations that I like is called the Breath of Life meditation. And I actually picked this up from a YouTube channel, if I could shout them out, Spirit Science. You may have heard from them. They're a pretty popular YouTube channel. And this meditation has been so transformative for me. And it's so simple. I just sit there and I inhale for a count of 7. And then for a count of 5 or 6 seconds, I'm holding that breath and I'm feeling that prana circulate throughout my body. And as I breathe out, I'm weaving that prana into my heart space and I'm saying mantras, like just simple ones like I love myself, I honor myself, I trust myself, I value myself. And just that simple meditation where I'm breathing in Reiki, I'm weaving it back into my heart. Um, it helps prepare me for each day, because no matter how I feel when I wake up, if I wake up and I feel a little grumpy, or if I wake up and I feel a little tired or lazy, I don't want to start the day, I slip into that meditation. I say those affirmations to myself and I'm just pumped, I'm excited, and I'm full of energy. Um, so that's one thing that I do. I also am always keeping selenite around me. Like wherever I am, I always keep some type of selenite. If I ever feel a little strange, I'll literally sit here with my hair and I'll just like brush my hair with the selenite, do a lot of selenite sweeping, super helpful. Also being out in nature. I'm out in nature every single day barefoot. Another thing that's super helpful for me. So for several hours a day, whether I'm making videos or I'm walking outside in the garden, I'm having a good solid connection with the earth. Like my bare feet are on the ground, whether I'm hiking or working with the chickens or whatever. I'm always connected to the earth. Um, Something else that I like to do is every shower, I like to put Reiki into my shower head. So I'll actually channel the Reiki into the shower. I'll put the Chokure symbol over the shower head, and all that water will just be Reiki charged flowing over me. And I do like a nice aura and energy bath along with my shower, and I just release everything. Sometimes if I'm feeling extra stuck, like I'll actually have to go within. There's a technique that I learned from my Reiki master, and I don't know, this might sound silly, but it really works for me. So I channel the Reiki into my hands, right? And then I kind of extend them out almost like an extra, I don't know how to describe it, like a Wolverine claw, but like an extra
Mhm.
hand. So it's like a little scoop shove. And I go within and I'll be scooping out whatever I'm feeling. If I'm feeling anxiety, I'm going in with my hands, I'm scooping it out and I'm pulling it out of me. And I'm releasing it with my breath and I'm like letting it run down the drain. And that is always super helpful for me. Um, I also do something every night before I go to sleep that I call a call back and release ritual, where I'm essentially setting the intention and mindfully calling back all of the energy that I've expended throughout the day that's no longer serving my highest good. And I'm also releasing all the energy that I picked up from my environment and from other people that's not serving my highest good. And I always keep selenite under my pillow with some rose quartz too. So
Love that.
yeah.
So these are amazing. I love the selenite sweep. I mean, like I do that too, but I love the name of it. I am going to be using that. Going forward, I will be stealing those words from you.
The
I
sweeping,
love
it's so
that.
good.
Yeah, the sweep. I love
I
that. I
love
never
it.
called it that before. Um, so you're talking a lot about crystals, and you are talking my language because I'm a crystal energy therapist as well, and I own a crystal shop. So,
Yeah.
talk to me. Like, do you incorporate crystals into your healings? And if so, like, what crystals do you love the most, and how do you really use them?
Well, I do incorporate crystals. In a lot of my short videos and long videos, I'll have different types of crystals. For me, I really love, excuse me, I love amethyst. Amethyst is one of my favorites just because it's incredibly calming and soothing. This is one that I personally been using for years. Even before I got on the Reiki path, I've always kind of kept amethyst with me for its calming properties, helps me kind of fall asleep a little bit better. But it's also a great one to meditate with if you're trying to open up your third eye, if you're trying to connect to your intuition, if you're trying to work with your spirit guides. I love amethyst. It's also a good one um, because I recovered from alcoholism and abusing pills. So this was also a great crystal for me because it works great for people who are dealing with addictions and compulsions. Amethyst is a good one. So one of my all-time favorites. Obviously, I love the selenite because it's so high vibrating. It's great for working with the angels, the spirit guides. It's great for connecting to higher planes of consciousness, and it's also good for cleansing and charging all your other crystals. So whenever I go on a trip, I'm always packing selenite in my bags. I sleep with it. I keep it in my car. It's always on my person. Love selenite. Other crystals like all the really black dense crystals like the black tourmaline, obsidian. All those crystals are really great for kind of, again, keeping that energy that you don't want off of you. And if you're dealing with like really intense energy, like I feel a lot of anger welling up inside me, or I'm getting frustrated, or even anxiety, black tourmaline and black obsidian is there to kind of help take the edge off, kind of help you ground and dispel those heavy emotions. Um, Lemurian quartz, also one of my all-time favorites, just because it holds so much ancient knowledge, wisdom, and light codes, and it's a great one for tapping into that ancient energy of the Lemurians and star seeds. So I'm a star seed also, so it kind of helps me connect to my star family. Um, Rose quartz, just because great heart opener, great one for helping you feel love. This is my favorite rose
Mm,
quartz piece. I love this. So this stays
that's
on my desk
gorgeous.
at all times. Um, I sleep with rose quartz as well because it's all about love at the end of the day. We're here to love
Yeah.
each other. We're here to feel love, and we're here to. I feel that we're all here to come back to love and just bring more love to this planet. So I love
Yeah.
that. But other ones, I do love. Uh, Adventuring. Adventuring is another good one, just because it's a good one for attracting luck, prosperity, money manifestation. And it's a good one just to, track
Yeah.
that stuff. Tiger's eye for confidence, inner
Mm,
strength. Yeah, I guess those are my big favorites. I guess I use a lot of those.
awesome.
Just kind of looking around to see what other crystals I have. I
Yeah.
do kind of have. They're all over the place.
I hear you. They're all over my house too.
Yeah,
No,
but I
I
love
love that.
crystals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe everything has consciousness. That's my belief. Obviously we have consciousness. Animals, plants, our planet has consciousness. But I believe that even all these crystals have consciousness within them. And when we're working with them, we're working with the spirit of the crystal. We're tapping into that, and it's not like we're making it work for us. We're co-creating with that crystal. You know, and it's all magic.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So Matt, you've said a few times about, that your spirit, working with spirit guides and things like that. What types of energies do you really work with in order to guide you? Or maybe like, do you use them also to help with your healings or to guide a healing? How does that really work for you?
So when I call on my spirit guides, my main spirit guide that I work with, her name is Lucy. That's what the name I've given her. She's really great. She's definitely. We've been friends. We've been homies for a very, very long time, eons. When I first met her, I met her in a meditation, and it was this beautiful meditation where it's like I'm walking onto a beach and there's like this fire, and it's evening, the palm trees are swaying, and I sat down in front of this fire and I waited for her to come to me. And she came to me in this tribal dress, like somewhere in the Pacific Islands. She was dressed in reeds and some skins and stuff, and she was tatted up, and she was like a warrior. She's a very no nonsense type guide. So in a lot of times, if I'm doing stuff that's kind of out of alignment, I'll feel kind of like a slap upside the head, like a spiritual slap upside the head. And I get a lot of tough love from her. Um, so a lot of times I'll ask her for help, or I'll ask her for questions, and her answer will be like, come on, you already know the answer to this. Like, why are you even asking me? That's kind of like the dialogue that we have. But she's fantastic. And I love working with her. But I also love working with Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael. I also call upon Yeshua, Jesus, a lot. Growing up Christian, and growing up in a Christian household, I've always had like a good connection to Jesus. I love that dude. He's so amazing. He is just a beacon of love and light. He is just such great energy, and he's always there for me. So whenever I'm doing Reiki or channeling, or even before I go on a live stream, I just call him in and I'm just like, Yeshua, my brother, just sit with me. Let me feel your love today. Help me share this love with people, and let us be love here together in this space. Just a simple invocation like that. So, but yeah, that's my main folks. I also call upon Anna, Anna, Jesus's grandmother. Not a lot of people know about her, but she's really awesome too. Anna. There is a really good book. Again, it's a book you got to take with a grain of salt, because it's not based in any type of scientific or historical fact, but it's called Anna, the Grandmother of Jesus. And it's a channeled message about the life of Jesus through the voice of his grandmother, Anna, who lived on Mount Carmel and was a member of the Essene community, like a very ancient ascetic Hebrew sect. Really interesting book, but yeah.
I have to read this book. Oh my gosh. And now I'm so excited for this. I mean,
So
I
great.
work with Jesus. Yeah, I work with Jesus a lot as well. I just find him to be such a beautiful energy of like healing, and almost like I always get a like what is possible for you type of energy. Like there's so much, like it's limitless. It's all within the heart, and continuously coming back to the heart. Same thing with like Mary Magdalene, who I work a lot with Mary Magdalene. And I grew up Catholic, not really going to church or anything like that, but I find for myself that these energies can't be claimed, right, by any one religion, that it's something that everyone can really work with, and everyone can work with Jesus. Everyone, I had actually a woman that she's Jewish, right? She grew up Jewish, and she came into the shop and we were talking about Mother Mary, and how, she's incredible for surrender, right? Like working with her for surrender. And she bought a Mother Mary necklace. She just connected with her and loves it. And her mom was like, why are you wearing that necklace? And she goes, because these energies can't be claimed. That's why. So how do you feel
Perfect.
about that? Yeah.
Absolutely feel the same way. So yeah, one of the things that really shook me out of Christianity in the beginning, once I started to get into like new age spirituality and explore paganism and kind of find my own path, I started to break away from Christianity a lot, to the point where I wouldn't even acknowledge it. But honestly, it was this book, Anna, the Grandmother of Jesus. And again, if there's anybody listening out there and they're a hardcore Christian, they're gonna introduce some concepts that weren't really talked about in the Bible that may shake up your belief system, because Christianity has been, a pretty patriarchal religion over it's been shaped over many hundreds of years by a lot of old men, who wanted it to be a certain way. And I'm not saying anything bad about Christianity here at all, but what this book did for me is it really opened me up to the message of Jesus and Mary and Anna and Joseph and everybody, John the Baptist, all those folks, and it allowed me to look at their lives, their journey, and their teachings in a completely non-religious light, just a spiritual light. And it talks about Jesus going into India and learning about tantric yoga and different types of practices, and like learning with the masters there about reincarnation. It talks about him going into Asia and Egypt and taking initiations in the Great Pyramid. And again, this is a channeled message, so you have to just take whatever resonates with you. You can't really take it as this is fact, historical fact, but it's a very interesting story that opens your mind up to the life of Jesus and his teachings and the mission that he came here to fulfill. And it really did help propel me on my journey in so many ways. And since I read that book, I've been in touch with him every single day, because he went through it. He really did go through it when he was young, because he was raised into this life. And it was like from the time he was born, it was, all right, you got a mission, you got to get started. And he didn't even have a lot of time to just be a kid and just grow up with other children. And what I've learned through reading about his life is that the initiations that he undertook were just some of the most intense, because it prepped him to ascend to the next realm of consciousness, like in his lifetime, in his short span of 33 years. But yeah, absolutely
Wow.
incredible. Would definitely recommend it to everyone. Just read it with an open mind. So good. I'll have to find the author of that before we end for today.
Yeah, I definitely am going to read this, because right now I'm actually reading Mary Magdalene Revealed for the fifth time. I just am obsessed with this book with Megan Watterson. And, in it, again, it's just, she says it's a Christianity that we haven't tried, but I think that it's not so much about the Christianity part of it. It's about the message, and the message is, and it's something that you've been talking about as well, Matt. It's just always coming back to love, right? Like the whole thing, the whole point is to love, right? So it's like, forget about the religion, like strip that away. It's the message. And the message is that these divine masters like Jesus and Mary Magdalene, they came here, and so many others, right? But they came here to assist and to guide in showing you the way. And the way is not the religion. The way is continuously remembering that you are a soul and a human, and how do we combine those two? And I think that we forget about, the soul. I think most people are forgetting about their soul, and that's how they end up feeling lost, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And Mary Magdalene and Jesus, they came here to have a very human experience too. They came here to feel romantic love. They came here to get sad, angry, frustrated, just like all of us, to feel pain, to suffer. They all came here to experience that, because these are all initiations that we're going through. All of the shadow work that we're doing as a collective and as individuals, they're all necessary initiations that we have to undergo, that we have to ascend through in order to get to the next level, in order to open up ourselves to experiencing more love. And in order to hold that space that we talked about, we have to go through those initiations. We have to let old parts of ourselves die off and be melded into, be integrated and assimilated. And that is part of what Jesus and Mary were kind of showing us too, through their teachings, is that we have to let go of the old paradigms, the old patterns, the old ways of thinking, that have been just perpetuated throughout time. When I talk about the Matrix, and how what we think of the Matrix is, as we're born here, and we spend the first 5, 7, 10 years of our lives just being like conditioned and programmed and being told this is the way the world is, this is the way it works, this is how we have to live, we have to make money, we have to go to school, we have to do this. And the rest of our lives is either following that program or unlearning all of that conditioning and coming back to love, because it's not taught in our society. We're not taught about spirituality or how magical we are as beings. We're kind of taught to get in line and find a job and earn money. But we're starting to break away from that as a collective. We're undergoing this really crazy dark night of the soul as individuals, as we're waking up to this realization that, hey, like, this isn't how it should be. Our world is kind of upside down, and a lot of people are waking up to that and deciding to choose a new path. And I think that's really beautiful for all of us, but it's necessary work that we're going through.
Yeah. Why do you think that we aren't taught about our own magic that lives within and how powerful we are?
Well, I've got my personal opinions on this. I feel like Earth is, it's a school, like a school of hard knocks. And I feel like a lot of us come here to learn those really, really hard lessons. Um, so that we can either evolve or grow, or come here with a specific express mission to help awaken others. Um, I feel that there are other planets out there where beings are being born. If you're familiar with star seeds, I believe there's other worlds out there where people are being born and society just runs off of love, and everyone kind of has a place, and nobody fights or is jealous of another person. Everybody kind of like lives in harmony. And it's hard for us to imagine such a world, but we thrive on greed here. We thrive on war and violence and division, and I'm better than you, or competition. And I don't think that's really how it should be. And I really can't tell you why it is the way it is here, but I know that Earth is just a very difficult training ground for souls. It's even like a bit of a battleground, um, where I just personally feel that the people at the top, whoever they are, the world leaders, the bankers, whoever has all the money, whatever you want to call those people, they don't really want people to wake up. I feel, because if people wake up to the realization that they are powerful, that they are conscious creators, that they are magicians, they're manifestors of their own reality, then they're going to lose all their power, because people are going to realize they don't need people to tell them what to do or how to live or what to watch on television, because people will wake up to the fact that they already have all the answers within themselves, and they don't need anything from anybody except that love and connection that we all share. And that doesn't work well for the people in power. So I feel
Mm.
like people that are in charge want to keep us afraid, and want to keep us, kind of dumb to the truth, and kind of, you know, I don't, at the risk of sounding like a conspiracy theorist here, I feel like there's a lot of fear and division being intentionally sown into the narrative and into people's hearts to kind of keep them from waking up to the realization that we are all one. And I
Agreed.
think that's what, like, people like you and I are trying to do, is trying to connect people and remind people, like, we're all connected. We're all going through it. It doesn't matter what religion you have. It doesn't matter your race, your culture. Your uniqueness and your individuality is beautiful and should be celebrated, but we're all connected, and
Mm.
we're all the same. We're all going through it, and we all got to love each other at the end of the day.
Yeah, and Matt, I'm in 100 million% agreement with you. I think it is something that, they it is being the fear is being given to us and spoon fed to us. And I think that's why it's so important to, like, the work that you're doing and doing Reiki and putting it out there for the masses, is because it, for you and I, it's become our everyday, right? But for other people, they don't know what they don't know. And as you're just scrolling Instagram and you come across somebody that's like, the energy is palpable. I mean, the energy is palpable whenever you do your videos. And when somebody receives that, it's like there's an undeniable shift. Like you feel it, whether your third eye starts tingling or your heart starts opening a little bit, or maybe even are moved to tears. You're moved to emotions that have been buried deep, and you don't know why. A stranger on the internet, on Instagram or on TikTok, is moving you to this. And it's like, and that right there can be the awakening. And that's why I just think that this work that you're doing, that we're doing collectively, everyone that's in this spiritual space that's doing it in integrity, it's beyond important to the masses. I agree.
Yeah, I believe that there are certain codes, that when people are ready, to receive it. There's something that it's either said to a person or they receive it, and when they're ready to just open up, it's like a switch is flipped, and it sparks that inner curiosity, that desire to know more about themselves, that desire to go deeper within. And once they light that fire, you can't ignore that anymore. You can ignore it, but you'll always come back to it, because it'll be, for me, like this disquiet in the soul. And that's what I want to see in more people. And I see people rejecting the society that we live in more and more and more, and starting to come home to themselves and to community and to the connection. And that's what's so important, because for so long, I'm going to assume you're a 90s baby, or you're a 90s kid like me.
I'm not. I'm an 80s baby.
Okay.
But thank you.
All good. It's all good. Well, you lived in the 90s. You remember the consumerism in the 90s, and how we as kids, we were marketed like all the crazy, colorful candies, the sodas, all our favorite celebrities, our athletes were with the sodas and the drinks. And it's like, what are they pushing on people? If we lived in a society that really cared about us, that really operated out of love, would they be trying to sell us like this high fructose corn syrup, carbonated sugar water? Would they be like trying to fight cancer by putting little pink ribbons on everything and being like, oh, wear pink for breast cancer awareness, but still trying to shill us the same processed fast foods that are causing cancer in the first place? That, like, when you break it down to that level, you start to understand that the people who govern us, they don't actually care about our health, because if they did, this stuff wouldn't be pushed at us. They would be pushing us whole foods that are consciously created, because it's all about the connection we share to everything. So once you break it down, you really start to understand how crazy of a world we live in. But again, what I love to see these days, especially in the space of social media and podcasts like this, and on Instagram, Threads, especially. I love Threads, by the way. I've been seeing so many people finding their tribe and coming together and connecting and uplifting one another and encouraging one another. And it's so good, because it's just the people coming together, doing it for each other. Nobody's telling us to do it. Nobody's telling us, hey, get out there and be positive. People are just naturally leaning into love and gratitude more, and people are being kind. And it's great, because it's like, we don't need a celebrity to tell us to do that now. We're just doing it,
Oh, I love this so much. So guys, actually, Matt, I want to just kind of hand this over to you, because you have something special that you are working on right now. And I feel like it's conversations like this magic that's happening on this podcast episode, that you are going to definitely be getting more of soon. Am I giving away a little bit there?
A little bit. Yeah. Yeah. Cause you could already tell, like, I love diving into this stuff, and I will go all over the place and not even know where I started from. But yes, I'm very happy to announce that I am starting a podcast very, very soon. It's already in the works. I've got the YouTube channel built. I've got the Instagram account built. It's coming together. And for those of you who follow me, you know that I started my YouTube channel called Spirit Pond. I have an affinity for frogs. We can get into that. But I decided to name the podcast Spirit Pod. And it's going to be a podcast where we talk about everything that we just discussed, but everything spiritual. So spirit guides, angels, numerology, past lives and reincarnation, different modalities in the healing and spiritual space, different cultures, crystals, herbalism, holistic wellness, because I believe that this path of self-mastery that we're on, it's not just happening on a yoga mat or meditating, but it's also happening with the content you consume, with the music you listen to. It's happening with every bit of food that you eat. It's about mindfulness and about bringing presence into every moment of your life. It's about when you're frustrated and angry, bringing mindfulness there and consciously choosing new reactions. And that's everything that I want to get into. All of it, a full, well-rounded thing. And we're going to dive into these topics. We're going to bring a microscope to certain topics. We're going to cover a broad range of stuff. And I'm so thrilled, because I don't know if you noticed, but I feel like I could talk forever, and I'm excited to get into it. I
But I
love
love
it.
hearing you talk. Yeah, I'm so
Thank you.
so excited for this podcast and just to really hear, I just love to hear everybody's perspectives on their version of spirituality and how that's woven into their modern day life. Because at the end of the day, we are living a modern life. We do have to live with we do have to live within this society. We do have to, live within certain constraints until we begin to break ourselves out of it. But there is this, we're living in this world, right? So how do we do that while weaving in that these ancient practices and the spiritual heart, really? And how do we start bringing that into our daily lives and remember who we are as a soul as we're living into the modern? And I feel like just your podcast is going to continue to weave that into everybody's lives.
Thank you so much. Yeah, one of the goals there is just to give people a little bit more power and control over their own lives, because a lot of people, like I said, we're taught that we have to do things a certain way and we got to follow these rules. And even just simple things like manifestation, um, and how powerful you can be when you're speaking affirmations, when you're putting your energy towards your goals and you're manifesting, you believe in yourself. Even things like that I want to talk about. And I want to give people, or just even just remind people of the immense power they have to create their own reality and how they're already doing it, and how together we can all create something new that's born from love, that is for everybody. Um, yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
thrilled. I am beyond thrilled to get into it.
Well, let me tell you something. I know that I'm excited. I know that my community is going to be excited to hear you speak about all of the things spirituality. So can't wait for this. When can we expect it?
Well, we should begin filming our first episode within a week. Currently, my task for today is actually sourcing a tablecloth. So
Okay.
I'm out hunting for a tablecloth for the table for the podcast, but we're building the set right now. It's great. We've got like a whiteboard, with all these like branching webs and things to talk about. It's going to be so much fun. I don't think we're going to run out of topics to talk about. We already have a lot of wonderful spiritual people that I've been connecting with on Threads and Instagram that want to be on the show. And I'm so excited to just get perspectives from people from all over the world and hear about their own journey and the things that they're passionate about. But it's going to be very soon. Yeah. So I have, I have a YouTube channel link, which I'll share with you, but it's called Spirit Pod. Yeah, and it's going to
Yeah,
be
please.
within a week. Should have the first one. Oh, it's going to be filmed live too, so it's going to be a live experience, on YouTube. So I'm excited about that too.
Oh, that's
It's gonna be
fun.
really cool. Yeah,
I love that. That's so cool.
yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, we're gonna have some
this is
opportunity to take
amazing.
questions from people. We might even do call-ins and stuff like that. So I'm really thrilled for it. I like working in the live space too, because I like that real time engagement, that connection. It's like it's just heartwarming. When we're
Mm,
all together, we're all vibing. I love it.
yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Uh,
Mm.
Matt, this conversation is just really just filling my heart with such amazing energy. So thank you so much. How can everybody follow you? How can everybody like be on this journey with you and see what you're up to next?
Absolutely. Well, on Instagram is just my name, Matt Gangi. You could find me on Instagram there, or on YouTube, I am Spirit Pond, and on TikTok, I am Reiki Matt. And I think that's everywhere I have content. Yeah. Yeah. So you could find me in one of those places. You could also find my business email if you want to send me a message on there as well. You can also find the personal healing sessions that I offer, because I do offer distance Reiki over Zoom and email. I also do readings with the ancient Nordic runes, which is
Mm.
super cool. I love the runes and getting into those. So yeah, you could find me in any of those places.
Oh my God, I'm signing up ASAP for all of it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Amazing. All right, Matt. So as we close out this incredible episode, what message do you have for the listeners?
I guess the one thing that I would say is don't shy away from the work. Um, Whenever you're feeling really uncomfortable or really stressed out, really frustrated, really angry, that is your invitation to go within and do some work. That is your invitation to bring mindfulness to that moment, because um, the true growth doesn't always happen when we're meditating or when we're channeling energy or when we're at peace. We do strive to cultivate that inner peace, but that true growth is always happening in the midst of a conflict. Okay. When we're feeling really scared or really angry and we're about to lash out or act impulsively, that's where you got to bring mindfulness in. That's where you got to bring all of your awareness, your consciousness to that moment. Consciously choose a new behavior, a new thought, or something new to say. Bring that love, bring that kindness back into that moment. Because remember, we are always responsible for the energy we're putting out into the universe. We're feeling all of it, and that's okay. It's okay to feel scared. It's okay to feel angry or depressed or feel so lonely. I get that, and I empathize with you, but we're always responsible for the energy we put out. So let it be done with love and let it be done with kindness. That's
Mm.
what I would say.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Oh my gosh. What an amazing message, Matt. Thank you again so much for being a part of the Spirit and Soul podcast. You have truly blessed us with an incredible message today and an incredible conversation. So I'm honored and grateful to have you.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. It's been a pleasure, and I'm so thrilled again. Like, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys, listen, we want to hear from you. What is your biggest takeaway? I know there's probably a lot, but what was the biggest takeaway that you received from this episode? I would love to hear you. Reach out to me on Instagram at Spirit and Soul Studio, and we will make sure that we pass your message along to Matt, or you can reach out to him yourself on Instagram or TikTok. I'm sure he would love to hear from you. And I just am so grateful for every single listener here. And I hope that you got something amazing from this episode today. And we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.